Hi everyone, it's Wally Dellenbach with you, coming to you from the great state of Indiana, the Hoosier State, for my part 2 of John Henry Bonham's snare drum, Bonzo snare drum tuning part 2. Before me today I have a 1988 LM402 10-lug Superphonic, and this is a 1978 Black Vistalite 6.5 by 14 10-lug. Behind me I've got a 1975 LM402, and this is kind of a Frankenstein that I've been working on. This was actually a 10 by 14 concert tom that I cut into a 6-inch snare drum, and it's on its way to being a, I'm sure, a delightful playing snare. Okay? So, talk about some things from part 1 real quickly here. I've got, I presented this to you from part 1. This is a 42 strand snare wire. Okay, and if you go to johnbonhamdrums.com, you'll see a photograph of this with a, with a Gretsch box. Reads Gretsch 42. Bonham played these, maybe in his latter days. But if you look at some photos of his Green Sparkle or other sets, you might see up underneath the snare drum where he's got like a 20 strand snare wire. Okay, so I don't use this. My theory on stuff like this is the more things that you have, the more potential there is for something to go wrong. So that's just kind of, that's me. Okay. Secondly, I mentioned surface tension. So definition: surface tension is the elastic tendency of liquids which makes them acquire this least surface area possible. What does that mean? But an illustration of it is a mosquito that lands on the water and floats there, or a spider, or a lizard that can run across the water on his hind legs using his tail as his lever or rudder, or a leaf that falls from the tree and lands in the water and doesn't sink, it floats there. Okay. I want to present to you a theory, a possibility. I think it's called a hypothesis, but that's a scientific guess. Okay, and but look, if you take a rubber band and stretch this rubber band between our fingers and just kind of give it a little pluck, you can feel vibration between your fingers and down your hand. Okay, and it kind of reaches a state where it gets really good vibration, and when you lessen the tension on it, it just kind of drops dead. You don't get too much out of it. Or when you pull it really tight, it kind of the same effect. It loses its vibrations. Okay. I was in the service, and I remember going through boot camp, and the drill sergeants coming by for inspection and bouncing quarters off of your blankets, and that quarter had to bounce for you to pass that part of the inspection. And if they tossed a quarter in your bed and just died in the bed blanket or sheet, you got some extra duty, So let's take that, I'm going to call it the bouncing quarter theory, and apply it to our snare side head, okay? Now, last part 1, I don't want to rehash part 1, but if we go back and we talked about Simon Phillips' snare drum tuning theory, he said he tuned his snare drum batter to the sound that he wanted, and he'd tune his bottom head to that same tone or pitch, and then tighten it up a little bit tighter. Okay, and I want to equate that to the bouncing quarter theory. Okay, so if you take, and what I mean by that, so once you have your snare head and your snare wires, and you've got your sound with your batter, and you put your thrower on, it's a good sound, right? And so your snare wires are going to bounce accordingly off of your snare head. And maybe I made this assertion in the part 1, but you've got your batter head is where you do your playing and you get your sound, and you've got your snare head, which is, in my theory, is an intermediary or a medium or a translator between your batter and your snare wires. Okay, I've watched some terrific snare drum tuning videos from some credible people. And I gotta tell you, I disagree, okay? They don't all have the same ideas. I was watching one guy, a very credible guy, and he was talking about tuning your drum set, and snare drums were included in that. But he kind of lumped everything together. Okay, so here's a tom, batter and resonant side. Okay, here's your batter, resonant side. Okay, you got ring, you got tone, you got sound. They both have the ring or the sustain in them on both sides. Now do the same with your snare drum. Okay, let's put this thing up, and this is your batter head. It's your snare side head. Listen, it dies. There's no ring on this side. And that's why I keep making the argument that your snare head is a translator between your batter and your snare wires. Okay? And I'm gonna talk the quarter theory. Okay? You want your snares vibrating off your intermediate, or your medium, your translator, your snare drum, your snare side head. Here's an example. Snare wires, 42 strand. All right? Sustain, it rings, right? I'm going to put this on as if, okay, now listen. It's all gone, okay? That, I hope, kind of supports some of my argument, is that your snare side head is a translator, okay? So, told you about how to get your sound. Part 1. If you want to sound like John Bonham, get that, and here's where I say you get your sound. From your batter side head. That's what makes your sound. Your snare wires is your you can tighten your snare wires up a little bit tight, take some of the vibration out of it, you can leave them loose. It's all about the kind of sound you want. Okay? Now, what I don't want to do in this video, or the videos before me, is just gush over John Bonham or make John Bonham into some kind of cliche. That's not my intention, because I see other people do that ad nauseum. Okay? John Bonham to me was a great drummer, and when I first heard Led Zeppelin, man, it was immediate. It was just an immediate love for Led Zeppelin. And I was a young drummer, and man, I listened to John Bonham and other drummers, of course, Ian Pace, Cozy Powell, Buddy Rich, man, gosh, there's so many drumming heroes out there, and even new drummers today. You know, I watch some of the drummers today, and they're great drummers. Okay, and what makes them unique is they have their own sound. You know, they copied the greats, they took what they got from them and translated it into their own thing. And that's what I want you to do out of this. Okay, this is nothing more. I'm not trying to make you watch my video because I tagged John Bonham's name into it. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Okay, Ian Pace, he used an LM402 basically in the same time. Deep Purple made in Japan, right? Led Zeppelin, the song remained the same. In 1973, you know, they were both pretty much the same time period. LM402s for each drummer. When you listen to them, you know, Ian Pace was very technical, very rudiment style drummer, rock and roll, heavy duty player, played big drums like, you know, he liked the big drums like Bonzo did. And when you really listen to their snare drum sound, what set them apart? They sounded the same. It was the same drum, LM402, 6.5 by 14, 10 lugs, same thrower, same butt. What set them apart? It was their style. Okay? So when I say, oh, I'm going to show you John Bonham's snare drum, you know, what makes John Bonham's snare drum sound like John Bonham is John Bonham. It's how he played, it's how he finessed, it's how he applied his life and his passion for drumming into a set. Okay? So I'm not trying to trick anybody or say, hey, is this how to play like John Bonham? No. It's not what it's about. This is the sound. If you want to sound like John Bonham, my advice to you is to study him, watch him play, watch other people. There are some amazing teachers here on YouTube that are showing you Bonzo's licks, and they're very good teachers. Watch them and learn from them. When I was growing up, learning how to drum, we didn't have YouTube, so I'm archaic, yes. And you know, we had to just turn on the records and spin the record around a couple times and lift the needle up and listen to it again, and that's just kind of how we did it back in the old days. So there are a lot of really good, informative videos here on YouTube for you to watch and to learn from. So with that, really, there's nothing more to talk about. Oh, yeah, well, I guess I'll close with this. So, you know, you talked about the sound. Put on, I'm going to close with this, put on Led Zeppelin 2, Moby Dick, and listen to where he starts doing his little hand playing, and you'll get his sound. Play How the West Was Won, and listen to his, midway through the solo, he turns his snare drum off and he starts getting up here on the shoulder of his snare drum. When you hear him start to do that, right? You get the same amount of, you know, here's the reason why I set these two drums up here. You got a black fist wipe, same thing. Right? You want a John Bonham snare sound? Start studying how he plays. And it'll all fall into place for you. So with that, happy drumming. Remember, your drums are going to outlast you. Do your best to be your best drummer that you can be. Take care of your gear, and always study, okay? So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching. I'm so grateful that you took some time out of your day to listen to me with my silly Batman shirt talking about drums. Until next time, I'll see you later.